Picture this. You're a Barbadian citizen with dreams of studying overseas, landing that perfect job abroad, or simply visiting family you haven't seen in years. You've saved up, made plans, and filled out all the paperwork. But then, bam! The door slams shut in your face. This isn't some distant nightmare. It's the harsh reality facing thousands of Barbadians right now in 2025. Countries that once rolled out the red carpet for our people are now throwing up walls, rejecting visas, and in some shocking cases, sending our citizens packing. Today, we are diving deep into the 7 nations that have made life incredibly difficult for Barbadians this year. We'll uncover the real reasons behind these crackdowns, share the heartbreaking stories of those affected, and most importantly, give you the tools to protect yourself and your family. This goes way beyond simple travel inconvenience. We're talking about shattered dreams, broken families, and a small island nation fighting to maintain its place in an increasingly hostile world. Our beautiful Barbados has always punched above its weight on the world stage. With our pristine beaches, vibrant culture, and the warmest people you'll ever meet, we've earned respect across the globe. Our Commonwealth membership and peaceful history have traditionally opened doors worldwide, but 2025 has brought unprecedented challenges. The global political climate is more volatile than we've seen in decades. Economic pressures, lingering pandemic aftereffects, and rising nationalism have created a perfect storm of travel restrictions and immigration crackdowns. Even small, peaceful nations like ours aren't immune to these sweeping changes. What's particularly troubling is how suddenly many of these restrictions appeared, catching our people completely off guard. So, which countries have turned their backs on Barbadian travelers? What's driving these dramatic policy shifts? And more importantly, how can you navigate this treacherous new landscape? Let's count down the 7 countries where being Barbadian has become a liability in 2025, starting with our 7th entry. Number 7, the United Kingdom. The relationship between Barbados and Britain runs centuries deep. From our colonial past to our modern partnership, the UK has been a second home for countless Barbadians seeking education, career opportunities, and family connections. But 2025 brought an unexpected cold shoulder from our former colonial ruler. New visa requirements appeared almost overnight, catching thousands of Barbadian applicants completely unprepared. British officials point to growing concerns about visa violations and unauthorized employment by visitors. The post-Brexit immigration overhaul has created a more suspicious, bureaucratic system that views every application with increased skepticism. For everyday Barbadians, this translates to endless paperwork, months-long waiting periods, and devastating rejections that often come without proper explanation. Students missing enrollment deadlines, workers losing job opportunities, and families unable to reunite for important occasions. Our government is working tirelessly through diplomatic channels to restore the traditional friendship between our nations. But the reality right now? If you're planning a UK trip, start your visa application much earlier than you ever had to before, and prepare for a marathon, not a sprint. Number 6, the United States. America has always been the land of opportunity for ambitious Barbadians. Whether pursuing higher education, building careers, or simply experiencing the American dream, the U.S. has traditionally welcomed our people with open arms. However, it introduced a maze of new security protocols that have turned visa applications into virtual interrogations. Enhanced background checks, invasive interviews, and suspicious scrutiny have become the norm rather than the exception. While not technically a ban, these measures have created devastating delays and unexpected rejections that shatter carefully laid plans. Families planning reunions find themselves separated by bureaucratic walls they never saw coming. American officials cite security concerns and immigration fraud prevention as justification. But for small nations like ours, these broad-brush policies feel discriminatory and unfair. The new reality for Barbadian travelers? Triple-check every document, prepare for intensive questioning about your ties to Barbados, and have backup plans ready because approval is no longer guaranteed, even with perfect applications. Number 5, Canada. Canada's reputation as the friendly neighbor to the north made their 2025 policy shift particularly shocking for Barbadians. Known for welcoming immigration policies and multicultural values, Canada suddenly became much less hospitable. The most disturbing development? Sudden deportations of Barbadian workers who thought they were following all the rules. Legal workers found themselves caught in bureaucratic traps that resulted in forced removal from the country. These weren't criminals or troublemakers. These were hardworking individuals who fell victim to complex paperwork requirements and shifting regulations. Small mistakes that once resulted in warnings now trigger deportation proceedings. Canadian immigration authorities have become ruthlessly strict about documentation and permit compliance. What used to be manageable red tape has become a legal minefield where one wrong step can destroy years of careful planning. The message for Barbadians considering Canada? Get professional legal help before you even start the application process. The cost of an immigration lawyer is nothing compared to the devastation of deportation. Number 4. Australia. Australia's 2025 immigration clampdown hit Barbadian students and skilled workers particularly hard. The country that once actively recruited international talent suddenly pulled up the drawbridge. Behind the policy shift, economic anxiety and pressure to prioritize Australian workers over foreign nationals. Global uncertainty has made Australia more protective of its domestic job market than ever before. The human cost has been heartbreaking. Brilliant Barbadian students with confirmed university places found their visa applications rejected without warning. Skilled professionals who could contribute significantly to Australian society were turned away at the border. Today's Australian visa process resembles running a gauntlet. Applicants must prove substantial financial resources, demonstrate unbreakable ties to Barbados, and navigate health clearances that can take months to complete. For Barbadians still determined to pursue Australian opportunities, preparation is everything. Research requirements exhaustively, gather documentation early, and prepare for a process that's longer and more complex than ever before. Number 3. United Arab Emirates. The UAE's treatment of Barbadian workers in 2025 sent shockwaves through our Caribbean community. A region that had provided stable employment for thousands of our people suddenly became a hostile environment. Without warning, mass deportations began targeting Barbadian workers across multiple emirates. Employees who had worked legally for years found themselves accused of contract violations, visa irregularities, or minor legal infractions. Many of these deportations happened so quickly that workers couldn't even collect their belongings or say goodbye to colleagues. Families back home received phone calls from detention centers instead of regular check-ins from loved ones. The UAE's labor laws are notoriously strict, and cultural misunderstandings can quickly escalate into legal problems. Language barriers and limited access to legal representation left many Barbadian workers vulnerable to exploitation. Our consular services have stepped up efforts to protect Barbadian workers, but the message is clear. Understand your rights completely before accepting UAE employment, and maintain perfect legal status at all times. Number 2. United Kingdom. Overseas territories. Perhaps even more surprising than mainland UK restrictions were the barriers erected by British overseas territories in 2025. Islands like Cayman, Bermuda, and the British Virgin Islands, places with deep Caribbean connections, suddenly became much less welcoming. These territories implemented aggressive protectionist policies designed to reserve jobs and housing for local residents. New residency requirements and work permit restrictions caught many Barbadian families completely off guard. The human cost has been severe. Barbadian business owners found their operations disrupted, students lost educational opportunities, and families faced separation as visa renewals were denied. Rising living costs and housing shortages in these territories created political pressure to limit foreign residents. Unfortunately, Barbadians, despite our shared Caribbean heritage, weren't exempt from these restrictions. For Barbadians with connections to these territories, the new reality requires careful planning and possibly legal consultation to maintain your status and protect your investments. Number 1. Saudi Arabia. Nothing could have prepared the Barbadian community for Saudi Arabia's devastating actions in 2025. What began as diplomatic tensions quickly escalated into mass deportations that shattered hundreds of families. The speed and scale of Saudi Arabia's crackdown was unprecedented. Barbadian workers who had built lives in the kingdom found themselves given days, sometimes hours, to leave the country permanently. These weren't voluntary departures or gradual policy changes. This was a coordinated expulsion that caught our government, our workers, and their families completely unprepared for the devastating consequences. The Gulf region had become a lifeline for many Barbadian families, providing stable employment and remittances that supported entire communities back home. The Saudi expulsions didn't just affect the workers. They impacted everyone who depended on their support. Diplomatic efforts are ongoing, but the relationship between Barbados and Saudi Arabia remains severely strained. Recovery will take time, and trust, once broken this dramatically, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Why are these bans happening? Understanding these restrictions requires looking at the bigger picture of global politics and economics in 2025. Several powerful forces are reshaping international travel and immigration policies worldwide. First, geopolitical tensions have reached levels not seen in decades. Small nations like Barbados often become collateral damage in disputes between major powers, even when we're not directly involved in the conflicts. Perhaps most troubling is the shift toward guilty until proven innocent in immigration policy. Where Barbadian passports once opened doors automatically, they now face suspicious scrutiny and bureaucratic obstacles. Behind every visa rejection and deportation order is a real person with dreams, aspirations, and family obligations. The human cost of these restrictions extends far beyond inconvenience or disappointment. Students see their educational futures crumble as university acceptances become meaningless without visa approval. Workers face unemployment and financial ruin as job opportunities evaporate overnight. Entrepreneurs watch business opportunities slip away due to travel restrictions they never anticipated. Finding creative solutions and refusing to let setbacks define their futures. What can you do? While these restrictions are daunting, Barbadians aren't powerless. Knowledge and preparation remain our best defenses against an increasingly hostile travel environment. Stay connected with official sources. Our government's travel advisories and embassy updates provide crucial real-time information about changing policies and emerging restrictions. The world of 2025 is challenging, unpredictable, and often unfair to small nations like ours. But Barbadians have always been survivors. We've faced hurricanes, economic downturns, and global pandemics, emerging stronger each time. Your experience could help fellow Barbadians prepare for similar challenges. Like this video if it helped you understand the current travel landscape. Subscribe for more updates on Caribbean immigration and travel news, and hit that notification bell so you never miss crucial information. Together, we'll navigate these turbulent waters. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay strong, Barbados.